So yeah, just let me know when we're recording, and I'll open her up, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, I started recording about 30 seconds ago.
Oh, okay.
So, if you want to do that opening.
Yeah. So hello and welcome.
This all in.
Oh my god. So hello and welcome to Input Output, your read write sister podcast. My name is Brendan, and with me, as always, is Sam.
Hello. How are all you crazy internet people?
Hello, internet. So, what have we been up to in the last week, Sam?
I haven't been up to too much, but I'm pretty sure that right at this very moment, you're actually in the middle of your 1-year anniversary stream.
I am indeed right in the middle of my 1-year anniversary stream at this exact moment. We're doing this live, guys. Live.
Yeah, fuck it. We're doing it live.
Yeah.
So a year of streaming.
Yep.
What have you learned about Twitch, about yourself, about the true nature of Christmas?
True nature of Christmas. I've learned a ton about myself in the last year. For those who don't know, and I think Erica probably knows, and I know Sam does, but I went through a lot of schooling. It didn't really work out for me. I had a lot of issues that I didn't know about. I didn't diagnose ADHD, all that kind of stuff. And when I eventually did quit school, I started working on myself. And when I started working on myself, that's kind of where I got to, was when I started streaming. Like, I spent a year working on myself, and then when I started streaming, I focused specifically on my writing and how I wanted to improve as a writer. From like February onward, sort of thing. And I think in the last year, I think in the last 3 months since the start of 2017, I've actually been more productive than in my entire writing career before this. So like however many years that was, I've actually done more in the last 3-4 months.
Well, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. And you feel like that's mainly motivated because you've been streaming?
I don't think it's 100% because I've been streaming, but I definitely think streaming is being a big part of that. First and foremost, a regular writing schedule helps immensely. And I think you've been finding that as well, right? Just like, the ability to get up and write every day, even if it's only for an hour, sort of thing. Like, it just builds your muscles in the right ways.
Yeah, absolutely. It builds up the right neural pathways.
Yeah, for sure. And I think so. Twitch, I have streamed every Sunday for the last year, with the exception of major holidays. So Christmas, New Year's Day, and Easter. And the one weekend I went to a convention. So like that is a guaranteed 2 hours minimum that I've spent writing every single Sunday, on top of whatever other writing I was doing during the week. And the more you write, the more you feel like writing, and the more you feel like writing, the more you write, and it just becomes this crazy circle. No, I did not stream on Easter Sunday, which is why I wasn't eligible for affiliate yet.
That's unbelievable.
But now I am, because if I calculated it correctly, this will be stream number 7 in the last 30 days.
According to my calculations, I have enough streams.
Well, yeah, because I streamed on the 2nd, the 9th, 10th, the 23rd, 24th, 30th, and 1st. So
yeah, that's like 35 podcast length, at least, of material.
So
ship it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, streaming definitely helped with consistency. It also got me out of my head a lot, where, I did stuff and I said, oh, this is done. I'm not working on this again. And learning to do that was a big part of helping me. A, because I started actually finishing things, and B, because I got in the mindset of actually finishing things rather than just letting projects go on forever. So that's really helped as well.
Okay. So, yeah, you've got a lot done.
Yep.
You've got a lot more regular output, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel that. I spent all of 2016 basically working on dinner, with the exception of stuff I was doing on stream. And then since then, since I kind of put that down in whatever November, I guess it was, I've really just pushed hard and pushed past all that.
Yeah. So if you were to like go back a year and tell yourself one piece of information before you start streaming, what do you think that would be?
Oh man, probably interaction. I probably would have streamlined the process of like going from that lesson sort of style that I had at the beginning to more of an interactive style, like day-to-day style. Like immediately, I think that would have probably been my piece of advice. That and audio quality.
Yeah, definitely interacting with the people who are there to interact with you, seems like a good idea. And you've been learning.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that like if all I wanted to do was teach people stuff, why wouldn't I just post YouTube videos? Where I could sit down and edit it and make it perfect. But I want those interactions. I want to talk to people. I want to have people ask me questions and be able to answer their questions, and have them ask me questions about my own work and push my own work forward. That sort of thing. And I think people have done that. I mean, I know you sit in stream a lot and just like, hey, have you thought about this? I'm like, oh, that might be really cool.
Just throwing out little mind bombs.
Yeah, exactly. Like just those little suggestions that put you forward. And I know that I'm like that in Twitch, where I'm just like, I'll just spew ideas, no matter if they're good or not. And sometimes people like them, and sometimes people just ignore me. But that's fine. Like that's just what I do. I'm there to provoke thought. Yeah. Well,
and that's what you're trying to have a conversation. You're not just screaming into the void.
Yeah, exactly. In a lot of ways, and this might be a little weird and egotistical, but in a lot of ways, this stream is kind of, I hope, inspirational for people who don't necessarily write but want to.
That would be definitely a positive output.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that I know, at least when I was starting out, there's 1,000 questions that you have about like, how do you start a story? How do you come up with an idea? How do you do this? How do you do that? What's your next step? And if I had some good teachers for that, for sure. Like I took a lot of writing courses and stuff, but having someone that I could ask like direct questions to all the time about every like weird little thing would have definitely helped for sure.
Well, that seems like kind of what one of the strengths of Twitch and other community-based systems really is that you can kind of ask that question, and there's a million people who are obsessed with that particular little thing who are all going to give you their opinion.
Oh yeah, totally. And I mean, if you've been around the stream at all, and hung out with like my friend Erica Drayton, for example, who does a lot of that kind of style stuff too, where she has like a workshop and things like that, where I can just kind of hang out and voice my opinion along with hers. And she's like, yeah, you're making good points. And I'm like, yeah, and you're making good points. And we're kind of learning from each other in the same sort of scenario, right?
Yeah. Everyone's making good points. 1,000 points to Gryffindor.
Oh, don't encourage the Ericas.
What, is she a Gryffindor?
I have no idea. No, she's a Ravenclaw.
Oh, well, at least she'll never be anything. Oh, she's not a Hufflepuff, I guess. This concludes Harry Potter talk.
This concludes Harry Potter talk.
Oh, geez, look what I've done in chat.
You started this. I wasn't going to bring it up.
I didn't know.
But yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of Harry Potter, I just finished the Name of the Wind.
Yes, Patrick Rothfuss, who actually also streams on Twitch. I've been told.
Yeah, you sent me the link the other day to his channel. I looked a little bit at it.
Erica gave it to me.
Oh man, I can't even imagine what he'd be like streaming a game. He's so weird and like seemingly dysfunctional and yet brilliant.
He is a cranky old man, and I kind of love it.
You need to watch him on Critical Role, where he's just surrounded by people who are, acting like children.
Yeah.
Like, oh, who wants to take a magical poo in this jar and leave it somewhere? And then Patrick Rothfuss' character just sitting there watching the whole thing. Like, It's amazing.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. He was playing Numenera. I watched him the other night. He was playing Numenera, and it was interesting because it was like a very heavily narrative game for one, which I think he was really into, and then two, he was kind of like redoing this one battle over and over again because he wanted to do it perfectly or like the most efficient way. And it was really interesting to watch him kind of think through things and just kind of yell at his characters.
Okay, so like, just the old man shakes fist at Cloud, but on stream?
Yeah, kind of.
Damn you, game rules!
Well, he's like, Eri, why are you such a piece of shit? Stop being a piece of shit.
Why can't I just jump over this waist tall, like, any kind of obstacle? You can't get past it. Once it's past the knees, completely impassable.
Yeah. So it was kind of a funny thing. It was interesting. His chat rules are funny. You will be banned if you ask him about book 3.
You know, I looked for that. I didn't see that listed specifically.
It's in like the rules command if you pop it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
It was interesting though because there weren't actually that many people talking about his books. No, and every time someone did, it was like a short, like 5-second conversation. Like not with him.
Instantly banned.
He kind of he just kind of ignored them. He didn't really interact with chat all that much, but mostly because he was concentrating. Actually, like he was trying to like do this optimal strategic thing, so he was actually focused really hard. But it was like kind of this thing where like people would talk about it for like 2 minutes, and then the subject was dropped.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was weird.
If he just lets it burn itself out, then he doesn't have to even worry about it.
Yeah. But to be honest, like I wanted to go up being like, oh my God, I'm such a huge fan. I didn't know you streamed on Twitch till just now, like whatever. And
banned.
Like, well, no, but it was just like, it's like, I don't want to be that guy. So I didn't. I kind of just lurked.
And to think you could be banned right now.
To think I could be banned right now.
Yeah.
I was tempted, but I didn't want to annoy him.
Just go into the chat and write third book and see what happens. Just from like a library computer or something.
They banned my account though, right?
Yeah, you make a fake account, like Patrick Rothfuss is the finest gentleman or something. Like that would be your username. And then you go into his chat and you just one time ask about third book. But then what you do is you make that same account with about like 20 different spellings with random different numbers and letters superimposed so that he will constantly believe that it is the same guy coming back over and over and just who's genuinely interested in his third book.
See, if he was smart like I am, I set my channel to verified emails only.
Oh, geez. Oh, shucks. Look at Mr. Fancy Pants over here.
So people can't do that.
Well, that's too bad. That my 90s era trick shouldn't work. Damn.
But yes, Patrick Rothfuss for life. I love his work. He is amazing writer. That's all I got.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. Like all in all, even though completely ridiculous things happened, it always just felt like it was happening for a sensible reason.
Yeah.
And
it
like
totally
it was kind
does.
of real.
And his character is like really good at a lot of things, but it doesn't feel weird.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's just good at things because he suddenly needs to be good at that. Like he never uses skills that he didn't previously have.
Yeah. And like everything that he's good at like later on is kind of a foundation of something he was already good at. So like it just kind of builds on itself like real skills do.
Yeah, he still should have put like way more skill points into animal handling.
Yes, he should have.
Said no D&D player ever.
Yeah, no. Animal handling. One of the least useful skills.
Well, unless you need to corral children, in which case we've recently discovered that that's the correct skill.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so yeah, Patrick Rothfuss for life, 1,000 years Rothfuss.
Yep. Man, I love Patrick Rothfuss. I've been trying to get you to read this book for a long time too.
Yeah, probably like a year.
Maybe longer.
It's totally worth it though. It's too bad. Well, I was gonna say it's too bad we can't do it for the book club. I don't know. There's still maybe a way that we could. I don't know what that would be.
I think we should do the third book when it's released.
Okay, we'll see you in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, you know, Hopefully we'll still be around then.
We're going to be huge on future Twitch by then.
Okay, good. That's my plan too.
Yeah, I mean, when the aliens invade in 2222 and they implant the Twitch implants into our brain, it's going to be great. Our market share is going to go up like crazy.
That's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm all for that.
No objections. I, for one, embrace our Twitch alien overlords.
That's literally my next sentence was going to be, I embrace our alien overlords.
Good. All right, we're in agreement.
I feel like we're the announcers in Saints Row 4, where they're like,
oh, yeah.
All glory to Zinyak, our benevolent overlord, for allowing us to live.
Uh-huh. All glory to Zinyak, yeah.
Exactly. Those guys are the best.
And Genki.
And Genki. Yes, and Genki. The Christmas one was hilarious, by the way, for that.
How the Saints saved Christmas?
Yeah.
That wasn't my favorite one.
I thought the DLC itself was funny. But the mind over murder with like the menorahs and Christmas trees, hilarious.
Yeah, I think my problem was I had just finished like playing the main campaign for 12 hours straight, and then I tried that DLC, so I was like kind of burned out. But the reindeer, or the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer rocket bike.
Yes. I just laughed at the Terminator reference.
Oh yeah.
And then your character's like, are we really doing this? It's like, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like Saints Row is the anti Duke Nukem Forever, because their jokes always seem fresh, even when they're about something that could, like, something that's 20 years old, like Terminator.
Well, they referenced Terminator in that. They referenced Back to the Future in that.
Oh yeah, that's true. They do a lot.
Because they had the clock tower thing, and your character's just like, God damn it. I know what we're doing. I hate you all.
Those are the best moments, when the characters inside the universe just like kind of look at each other and realize, oh god, I'm in a video game. I live in a reference.
Yep. And they're so self-aware in that game. Like, so self-aware.
Yeah, they do a really good job at that, of like knowing exactly what's wrong basically with their games, and just taking those things and turning them up so they're even more busted, so you could never claim that it was actually broken, because clearly no one would break their own game this much, like, on purpose. I feel like that's what the superpowers are in 4, is the game just busted in some really weird way, and they just turned that up instead of down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, totally. I mean, one of my favorite lines is still that one where it's like, so how long is this going to take? Long enough for you to shoot more aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Play to my strengths. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
We're big fans of Saints Row over here on Input Output.
I don't know. I think this all started because you were playing Batman and you made them Saints Row purple. And then female, the boss, was there. Yep.
Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey.
Voice actor of Saints Row, female voice 1, and Selena Kyle in Batman the Telltale series.
And a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
The female lead in Uncharted 4.
Yep. She's been in a lot of stuff. She plays Chun-Li in like all of the English voice editions.
Yeah, 1,000 Years Chun-Li.
Yeah. But in a bunch of anime. She was in K-On!
Yeah, there's she and Travis and like that whole crew of people who are also on Critical Role do a ton of anime voice acting. And it's just, it's hilarious in the moments where suddenly it's like everyone is doing their Japanese noise just over and over again for a solid 90 seconds. Just imagine 7 voice actors making that noise.
And doing it all the same way.
No, all hundreds of different ways. Yeah, even more terrifying. Every possible delivery they could offer. It's not quite the Tim Allen grunt, but it's real close.
Excellent. That's what we want. Tim Allen grunts.
Tim Allen grunts. I'm going to have to make up a soundboard that's just like 5 different Tim Allen grunts for this. Just for the next podcast, just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah, so when there's dead air, I'll just hit it, and it'll be like,
Excellent. I'm excited.
Yeah, see, even chat is confirming. All they want is the,
One of my friends posted on Instagram today about getting the Home Improvement board game.
Home Improvement board game?
Yeah.
That would be boring.
Would it?
I don't know. What's the gameplay?
I have no idea.
You hit it with a hammer and then the Wilson looks over the fence, and I don't know. That's all I know about Home Improvement.
I honestly don't know.
Well, I task you with finding out. Or possibly for your next game stream, you should do one of the Tim Allen video games.
Oh my god.
Or Home Improvement video games. Either one. I'll take either.
Those things are pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I can maybe do that.
That'd be amazing. I've seen it firsthand on some other streams, some of the games, but there's like dozens of them.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. That show had a lot of licensing for some reason.
Well, it was such a good show.
It was.
Is it deep lore? Like Tim Allen was the descendant of the Elder Timber Gods? I think that was true. I've never watched a single episode. Not all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, I've definitely watched like most of a couple episodes, but I could in no way describe the plot to you of any of them.
Interesting.
It usually is like randomly intercut things of his show. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, chat's asking about, or they're telling me that he was a god, and it's true. So I said it, and now chat is confirming it. Yeah, he was Santa Claus.
But you like Tim Allen, right?
I mean, he's fine. I don't dislike Tim Allen as an individual. I just thought that show wasn't that funny. You know, when I was like 8, when it was on TV. So I don't know. I don't have strong Tim Allen opinions.
Fair enough. I don't think you have to love that show or anything. I'm just curious.
Oh, what about things that I did love recently? I watched Logan.
Did you?
Of things that are old and Man and Logan.
I have not seen it.
Oh, you haven't? You should definitely watch it.
It seems like something I would really like, though.
Yeah, so Old Man Logan, which is what it's kind of based on, is one of the only comic books that I've read. One of the like 5.
I own Old Man Logan in trade paperback.
So this is not literally Old Man Logan, this movie, but it's real darn close. So it's really interesting to see Wolverine, but like not just invincible all the time.
Yeah, and it's kind of actually like Tim Allen's Tim Allen.
Yeah, Tim Allen has and his healing factor.
Hugh Jackman.
It was really messed up when he
age.
put his hand into the blades of the lawnmower, and it just chopped it all up, and it grew right back. Man, that was the weirdest episode of Home Improvement.
No, like Tim Allen's. Did it again.
I'm telling you, Tim Allen's adamantium claws are terrifying.
Hugh Jackman's actual age is more representative of Old Man Logan.
Yeah, even though he's like easily a foot too tall to be actually Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's like 6'6".
Yeah, he's tall.
And Wolverine's not supposed to be tall.
I don't think he's 6'6". I think he is 6 foot something.
He fucking is. Don't you research there behind my back? Or right in front of me?
I gotta know.
Alright, fine. I'll play the waiting music.
He's 6'2".
Yeah, that's what I said. 6'2".
Yeah, you're right. He's too tall to play Logan. Because actual Logan's like 5'3".
Right, yeah, full foot taller. See, I had these numbers exactly on target.
Your ratio was correct, even if your numbers weren't.
Sort of.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I watched that. I thought it was a good movie. I'm not really into the comic book movies, but this one was pretty good. I felt like it was better because it didn't have as many ridiculous effects. And certainly there was a lot more overt violence, which kind of made the violence feel more important. Like, you know, when you're actually sticking knives through a guy's head and you see them come through, it's a bit more than just he slashes his hand at someone off screen and you see the guy fall over. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Especially because Wolverine is supposed to be dark and brutal, you know?
Yeah, and he's brooding and he's burned out and he's pretty much done. He's fully given up being a superhero at this point.
That's the type of Wolverine I like.
Yeah,
sure.
well, there's these great moments in the movie where Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and a couple of the other characters are in a hotel room, and they have these comic books that are of the in-universe's Wolverine's adventures that had been turned into an in-universe comic book.
Okay.
So Wolverine is looking at comic books of himself, or of things that are inspired by his own deeds. And he's like, oh, these are all bullshit. And he just rips them up and throws them away. 90% of this stuff is just invented. So I thought it was really interestingly humanizing.
Yeah.
You know, that he kind of both is the character and is the celebrity portraying the character.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is intriguing. And I do like in-universe references to comic books, like comic books of superheroes, because that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I like that stuff. Like, where, you know, Captain America reads Captain America comics about himself and things like that. I think it's one of those things that we have comics, and we have comics for a reason, regardless of whether they're superheroes or not. So there's no reason why a universe with superheroes wouldn't have comic books. They might be about different things, but they would still have comic books.
Well, I think it's really interesting because those comic books almost become like news. Like, because they're kind of like a made-for-TV movie version of real-life news events. I was kind of thinking they're like the tabloid version. Yeah.
So they're more like Hugh Jackman's like, oh, don't read this trash.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the monster is only 8 feet tall, not 20. Came through 1 interdimensional portal and not even 3.
Oh, that's impressive enough.
Dealing with interdimensional portals all the time. So going over to the only other comic book that I've ever actually read, which is Planet Hulk.
Oh, nice.
Have you watched the trailer or the teaser for the new Thor movie?
I have not.
Going through all the Marvel properties here.
For those who don't know, I think you've heard me talk about this, Sam, but I don't watch trailers, like, ever, because I can guess an entire movie's plot from 30 seconds of a trailer. I don't like it. It sucks. I'm okay with teasers for the most part. Teaser trailers tend to be better, but there's kind of this movement that's going on right now where teaser trailers are actually really long, and they're not so much a teaser.
Like 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're not so much a teaser as like kind of more like what we consider a traditional trailer to be, and a traditional trailer is more like an explicit, like, here's what's going to happen in the movie.
Yeah, this definitely felt like just a trailer, because a teaser I feel like should be under a minute, and this thing at 3 minutes was, you know, easily a full commercial segment length.
Yeah, and like teaser trailers to me are like you show off like a cool shot that doesn't show all of the character's face or something like that, or like just hints at something.
Okay, so that's something that maybe not that directly, but tangentially from that, something that really bugs me about teasers and trailers is when they're made up of mostly shots that don't appear in the movie.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Like, what do you think about that? Because I feel like it's just explicitly false advertising. Because they're showing me something that is actually, for sure, not in the film.
I agree, but I would forgive it if it gave me the feeling of the movie without giving away parts of the movie.
I mean,
because if they give you the feel of the movie and the movie feels the same, then haven't they done their job, whether those shots are in the movie or not?
Yeah, but like, what are you showing me? You're showing me parts of something that doesn't even exist. Like, you know, these shots are not used. They've been deleted. They exist maybe on a flash drive for this promotional thing only. And maybe they're similar to something that's in the movie, but they're not actually part of that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of okay with it. But I think I'm okay with it only because of the way that I feel about regular trailers. Where, like, if it's not in the movie, then you're not ruining the movie for me, so I could watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really watch that many trailers or teasers or anything, so I don't have, again, a hugely strong opinion. It just seems weird to have stuff in a trailer that's not actually from the movie.
But then, isn't it a lot better than like hearing the same joke 1,000 times, so that when you see it in the movie, it's just not funny anymore?
No, I'm seeing the same joke 1,000 times. It's going to be better every time. I say this as someone who's watched like all of those animated movies from Pixar and whatever 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Due to the realities of employment.
Yep. How many times have we seen Frozen at this point?
Oh, into the high hundreds.
Because I'm fairly
600 or
certain
700 times.
I'm fairly certain it's in the thousands. But
well, okay.
Because it plays what, like 4 times a day? 5 times a day?
90 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
and we're open for 10 hours.
Yeah, I was thinking more like how many times does it play in one person's shift? So in 8 hours.
So 7.5 hours.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because 2 breaks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so how many times does it play in 7.5 hours if it's 90 minutes long?
5.
Yeah. Okay, good. So it plays 5 times. Well, that's a nice and round number. So 5 times a day, 5 days a week is 25 times a week. So just multiply out however many weeks you want.
And we played it for what? 2 years? Year and a half?
A year.
Okay. So 52 weeks.
52 times 25?
Yeah.
So, okay, you were right. It's 1,300.
Nice.
So, yeah, more than 1,000 times.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. So, yeah, so I've seen a couple of those Pixar movies, I guess is what I was saying. And now I don't remember what the original point was.
Well, we were talking about trailers and how...
about jokes getting worn in the ground. So sometimes some of those jokes are actually funny 1,000 times.
True. There's been a few.
Like the joke in Muppets Most Wanted where Kermit goes to just walk out of the gulag and the guy in the tower shoots at the ground right at his feet. He's like, oh, yeah, I forgot it was a gulag. I'm still in a gulag.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know. I find that weirdly hilarious every time.
I think every gulag joke in that movie is funny every single time.
Yeah, it seems so odd that these children's characters would be in a death camp.
Those movies are really dark.
Yeah, that one especially. They got Josh Groban locked in a one-man cell outside.
Yeah. That they do.
Yeah, so I don't know if I want to keep going on all the movies I've watched in like the last month that I haven't talked about.
I could do one.
Okay, what are you seeing?
I am now officially obsessed with Moana.
Oh yeah, okay, Moana.
Which you should be happy to talk about because Lin-Manuel Miranda.
All hail.
But I love Moana. I think it's a fantastic film. I love the character development in it. I love the mythology in it. I love the music in it. Like the songs are solid, and they do really awesome like kind of reprises, which I really really like because they almost use the reprises as character growth, and it's cool.
Yeah, and you're just talking about like the lyrics. I bet if you got down into the music itself, the way the chords progress through these different segments, I've seen some of the way that it's written in Hamilton, and it's kind of spooky. I'm not really a big music person, but just the explanation for it was really weird and cool to see how interlocking all these parts are, both from the musical and the lyrical perspective. So it sounds like Moana is the same.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I don't know how much influence he had on the writing of Moana or like any of that stuff. Because as far as I understand it, he just worked on lyrics basically.
Okay. I guarantee you'd have some back and forth with the music people, though.
Well, I agree. But I'm just saying that like his credit in the movie is mostly just lyrics, as far as I've seen. But songwriting in general. He didn't write it. Like he didn't write the movie at all.
No.
But I guess if you're a talented songwriter like he is, you can kind of just make those cool things happen inside another person's story. Because it's not like storytelling is different.
Well, yeah, it's all about using the specific bits of music, whether it be chords or whatever the other music terms are.
Motifs.
Yeah, motifs and stuff like that to evoke the particular emotions that those musical devices evoke. And so you just kind of need to know what each one does, and then you got to just turn that switch on or off, essentially. Musically.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, the strength of the lyrics in that movie are great because they're very evocative. Much of the movie, as does much of the mythology, which makes sense because you're talking about island peoples, right? Revolves around the ocean and the sea, which makes sense. I mean, we're talking about islanders, we're talking about fishermen, we're talking about voyagers sort of thing. So that makes sense. And the mythology is very much based around that. So like I love the lyrics for their evocativeness of the ocean and how you can use the vastness of the ocean as kind of this metaphor for life. Because one of the better songs, like probably the second best song in the movie is How Far You'll Go, or How Far I'll Go, I guess it's called. The best song being Thank You, You're Welcome.
Isn't it just You're Welcome?
No, I think it's Thank You, You're Welcome.
Well, that doesn't make him sound nearly as smug. Yeah, like he sounds
he's
way
pretty
more
smug though.
He's immensely smug, and this is The Rock's character. What is his character's name?
His character's name is Maui.
Okay, yeah, so he plays basically the creator god, right?
No. He is the trickster god. And in his role as the trickster god, he is kind of the he gives humanity all of their technology. So he gave them fire, he taught them how to fish, stuff like that.
No, so he's more of a Prometheus.
Yeah. He's more of a Prometheus character. Okay. He's like if you took Loki and gave him Prometheus's agenda.
Get the hell out from under this eagle.
Well, he turns into an eagle all the time.
Well, I guess Maui didn't get like tied to a rock for his mistake of giving people fire.
No, he did not. He got tied to a rock for attempting to give humans the ability to create life.
What, like robots?
No, there's like a magic stone thing.
Stone robots?
No, there's no robots.
All right, fine. So yeah, I guess I'm just impressed that The Rock can do anything and have it turn out amazing. Always, 100% of the time.
He's pretty good.
I'm not even a huge fan of The Rock, and I'm just willing to admit he will do anything, and it's always good.
He's just an entertaining person.
Yeah, well, I feel like a big part of it is that he has, or maybe he does, but he doesn't present it. He has like no self-consciousness.
Yeah, I can see that. Like,
he just does the thing.
I was gonna say, to be a wrestler, you kind of can't be that self-conscious because you're very exposed, like all the time, like literally.
Yeah, you're wearing like a thong and some oil.
Yeah, and like just, you know, things are happening and it's all live, so you just got to go with it whether you mess up or not, and like just stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense that they're kind of carrying so much of that on their both literal and figurative back when they're out in the ring.
Yeah, you know, like they got to follow a script and like all this stuff while they're throwing themselves 20 feet into the air to like frog splash on a guy, you know, like.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting combination of scripting and improv.
Yeah, for sure. And well, I was going to say, and then it gets interesting when things like actual injuries happen and how they play out into the scenarios that they're creating on the fly.
Yeah. So I was thinking there's an interesting connection from that kind of doing things on the fly, that kind of improv to, I know, or I don't know if we've actually talked about any pen and paper RPG kind of stuff on this podcast. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think we did, and then we cut that episode because it didn't record.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Learning about audio recording.
Yeah.
So I think like that pen and paper role playing game is very similar. It's like basically another structured kind of improv. You have a script-ish sort of, like, because you have guidelines on how you can behave, but at the same time, you know, you have to be open to change and everyone else's input.
So what's interesting about that concept to me is that the idea of a game master or dungeon master is that they kind of have to tell their story in a way that intrigues you to follow the script, right?
Yeah, you need to want to follow the story, right? Because if the story isn't interesting, then, as has more than once happened to us, we just diverge and start making our own story.
Yeah, exactly. And we start doing random things, and they don't always go well for us. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if the DM has to engage the players, he has to give them agency, he has to make them want to accomplish the thing that he wants them to accomplish, right?
So how similar do you think that is to when you're actually writing just like a regular piece of fiction, regular ass non-interactive piece of fiction? Like, how much do you have to entice your your characters in that to do what you want, and like give them an interesting plot.
Characters or readers?
No, characters.
Okay.
But I mean, secondarily, kind of readers too. But you have to entice the characters to actually want to go on that adventure as well.
Yeah, I mean, you do. It's one of those things that is a little bit easier, I think, in that scenario because you ultimately have control.
Do you think so? Do you think you have complete control over all the characters you write?
I think you do, but I think that you should ease up on the reins to let your characters breathe. Because if you don't, then you can end up with something that feels forced or unjustified to the reader.
Yeah, I agree with that. And definitely trying to, or the act of trying to force a character to do something that they very conspicuously wouldn't do is the downfall of too many short stories and novels.
Definitely. I've definitely seen movies where you're like, why did he do that? Like, what was the point?
It's the moment where the character suddenly has to be a complete idiot and forget everything about their life and situation in order to forward the plot. Like, they must perform this action or nothing else will happen.
My problem is it happens too often in the climax.
Well, we always make mistakes in the heat of the moment.
But, like, where the character will have to do something in order to defeat the foe and you don't understand why they did that thing.
Yeah, that kind of information needs to be communicated a lot earlier, for sure. Like, it dropped early-ish in the book or movie or whatever it may be. Of
course, I guess I'm not talking that much about, like, regular old, like, superheroes punching it out climax, more of a, like a battle of the bands or, like, something where something happens and the characters are forced to react to a situation.
Yeah, like when Bill and Ted suddenly materialize back on the stage, like, you know, older from the phone booth during the Battle of the Bands, and only to win it with the greatest performance of the Wild Stallions ever. Is that what you're talking about?
No, because that's actually pretty well executed.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted is one of those funny movies that, like, seems really silly, but is actually very, very well character execution. Like, very good character execution.
Well, I think Bill and Ted is one of those great examples of a parody that is actually better than the original material that it is parodying.
That's fair.
You know, like, because everyone involved in it was so clearly a huge fan of Doctor Who, and, you know, because it's a phone booth instead of police call box, and any of those time travel things where you can just, like, randomly move people through time and create ridiculous paradoxes. Like, you can tell that the people who wrote it were in love with that stuff. And so they weren't trying to make fun of it. They were trying to make a fun version of it.
So let's bring that full circle. I guess that's comparable to how the Saints Row approached the, like, sort of crime steal car games.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree with that. They have surpassed Grand Theft Auto in terms of what Grand Theft Auto originally was, which was an over-the-top, exaggerated version of, like, a criminal game or an action criminal game.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's become really serious and character motivated, you know, and, like, it's not a parody of anything else anymore. It has become the thing that it parodied. Whereas Saints Row has gone the opposite direction, and, well, I mean, I guess maybe not the opposite direction, but it's at the other end of the cycle.
Yeah.
Where it's achieved, it's become better than the thing that it was making fun of by breaking down all the problems, like consciously being aware of the issues of Grand Theft Auto and all those kind of open world games.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Even in like the superpowers that seem like they were maybe a bug at one point, like, they enable you to get around so many of the issues with the open world game. You know, like, climbing vertical space becomes really difficult when you can't just run up the side of a building, or being able to fly around, and just, you know, drop at a moment's notice, instead of having to randomly collect a car and then drive following all the million arrows. You know, you can just go as the bird flies.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I really love the superpowers for the mobility they give you, but I miss the car thing. But that's because I played all of the Saints Row games, and the car thing was so important in, like, 2 and 3, and it was really interesting because they give you a lot of cool customization options.
Absolutely. And those games
Like,
are
I
still
feel-
good games, but this is a totally different thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So I guess it's interesting that you can still take the same skeleton, even continue to kind of parody a certain game without even being that game anymore. Like they've kind of surpassed GTA.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Saints Row 4 was almost a parody of like Mass Effect and Assassin's Creed and like these other games outside of GTA.
Yeah, I guess it's moved beyond just the simple parody of one game, and now it's kind of making fun of an entire genre, or really of an entire industry.
I would agree with that entirely, because now that I think about it, I mean, they had those cool, like, all of the characters had like different references to different games, right? When you went into their levels to rescue them, you had Johnny Gat's like beat 'em up,
the Streets of Rage.
And you had Matt's like text adventure thing, and
yeah, each of them was an homage to a different era and to a different genre. Obviously, that Streets of Rage thing was a bit of a technical accomplishment.
That was cool.
But like each of them, yeah, they really sort of spread out into a different direction to examine different problems with gameplay. Some of them like, oh, if you want this particular objective to be harder, just turn up the number of bad guys on it. And they explicitly call that out a couple of times where, Zinniac's like, oh, well, you can't get that. I'll just turn the difficulty up. And now there's, 20 guys instead of 10. And, the characters will be like, oh, he just made more dudes.
Yeah. For sure.
Like, I think that exact line is in there. I wouldn't even be surprised.
I think the Zinniac one is. I don't know if they explicitly said, oh god, there's more dudes, but it was something to that effect, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if it were too many words off from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're Volition boys, they're doing some good work.
Yeah, they are. We're big fans.
So we're getting matching tattoos for a year of streaming when Read Write is going through, obviously. This is thing that I did not discuss with you.
I guess, sure.
Okay, so it's going to be matching dick butts, right? Middle of forehead, you do it first.
Middle of forehead, you do it first.
Yeah.
I see how it is.
I trust. It's all about trust.
Actually, it would actually be pretty cool for you to get the left statue and me to get the right statue.
Oh, that'd be weird. I don't want to get anything tattooed on me, though. As much as that would be cool, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Oh, weirded myself out with my own subject. No.
That's right.
Forget how much I don't want tattoos. It's one of those things that I don't think about on a regular basis, but I have strong opinions about.
You have a lot of those.
Mm-hmm. They're strong and good opinions. Keep them healthy.
I'm glad you do that.
So what else have you been up to?
I've been trying to catch up on some movies. So I watched Moana, I watched Sing, and I watched the Assassin's Creed movie, which was not good. Mostly I've been spending a lot of my time working on this comic project I have going with Schmandrew Art here on Twitch. Good friend of mine, amazing illustrator. That's going to be moving forward very, very soon. I think we're going to start character designs next week.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
So this is more you're going to be doing the visual side, extrapolating out from the script?
Yeah. So basically he works kind of like an animator in a way, which I actually think is a really good thing, where he'll draw like a like one of those things that has like the character profile and the character like character standing like face first, character profile to the side, so you can kind of see their face and just use that as a reference piece, like a different expression sort of thing.
Okay.
It's something they do a lot in animation, right? As like a reference sheet for drawing the character. But I think it's really cool because A, I like it, and B, because I think eventually it'd be cool to have sheets of them, to have prints of them to sell. Because they're kind of designed to show off a character's personality. But yeah, so we're going to start with those, I think. Get the main character for sure, and then move into the more of the actual like illustration of the script itself.
Okay, so there's a couple steps ahead of you.
Yeah, but we're in good shape. I've gotten some feedback on the first issue, so I'm going to do one quick rewrite of that probably not more than like spending 2-3 hours on it, sort of thing. Mostly because there's not that much that actually needs to be done on it. I just want to polish up a little bit of the dialogue and some of the images. And then I've already started issue 2. I've written synopsises for issues 1 through 4, and I have brief, like single paragraph or single sentence descriptions of 5 through 7. So like just the ending I'm missing at this point.
Man, you've made a lot of progress on that.
I was thinking about it today, and while I'm on Twitch, I can actually look it up.
What, you didn't pre-research this information?
No, I should have, though. I meant to.
You can't see me shaking my head.
I'm sure you are. That's what you do to me a lot.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear you shaking your head at me. Let's see here. So I first proposed to do a comic with him on the 21st of March.
Oh, wow.
So in the last month, I submitted to Andrew 6 different comic proposals, 4 in-depth ones and 3 in-depth ones and 3 like really basic ideas that if he liked them, I could expand on. And then I wrote the first script and then planned it all, designed all the characters, and basically a month on top of whatever else I was doing at the time, because I started programming a game and some other stuff.
You know, just a game, a book, a stream, 3 comic books, nothing much.
Well, I did say it when we started the show that like the last probably 3-4 months I've been crazily productive.
Yeah, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm really feeling it right now, which is good.
You've just gotta, get that stuff out there, get it on the market.
Yeah, and I've shown it to a few people. I don't know if I told you this, but I showed it to a friend of mine in Erica's, who Proud also watches sometimes. Vicious Fool, who is a special effects designer and streamer. He actually worked on Doctor Strange and some stuff as a VFX guy. But he asked to see my script when I was working on it like a few weeks ago, and I was like, sure, when I'm done the first issue, I'll send it along. So I did, and I popped into a stream the other night, and he was just talking about it. I wasn't even there. He was just talking about it, which was really cool. And I got there because he was talking to somebody else about reading the script, and he was talking about my script as a kind of result of that. I'm saying like, hey, I'm reading this other guy's script, and it's really cool and whatever. And I showed up, and he's like, hey, man, like, I'm really enjoying this, man. Like, your pacing's really good. Like, I really like it. So like, do you mind if I drew some of the panels just like on my own time?
Oh, geez. And
I was like, hell yeah, please do.
Oh, you better not. You better not do work for free, you jerk.
Well, it's not even that. It's just more of a like, I'm really excited that you were so inspired by my script that you wanted to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Because he was talking about it like, man, I was reading along and I could start seeing the pages and the way that the panels would be laid out in my head. And I'm just like, yes, that means I wrote a good script.
Yeah, you did something good.
Yeah. And
you got that message across.
Yeah. So I'm all for free promotion because his stream viewers will be into it. And I think he's a great artist and I would like to see some of the stuff that comes out of it. And you know what? If some of it's pretty cool, maybe a variant cover, something like that. Like that's what you do in comics, right? So
yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make a variant cover for you.
No, I appreciate your help either way, Sam.
I volunteer my art, though, if you want it. I'll say it right here, free of charge. I will make you an 8.5 by 11 cover art for your book.
That would be too small.
Well, you're just going to have to enlarge it using Photoshop because that is the size of paper I have available.
Yeah. Comics are drawn on 11 by 17 sheets.
Oh, man. All right. So it looks like we're into the taping a couple pieces of paper together territory.
Yeah. That's how they do double page spreads. They tape them on the back. They tape 2 of the 11 by 17s together.
Good. All right. So enjoy my almost 18-inch long dick butt for your first episode.
I'll take it.
We're going to owe money to Casey Green because of this, though.
Great.
You're welcome.
Well, it's your art. You'll owe him money.
That's true. It's a good thing nobody pays Casey Green for the use of Dick Butt, because nobody credits him with his invention. Which is probably fair. Nobody really wants that credit. Doesn't matter. It doesn't stop him from being the finest artist.
Fair enough.
Have you seen any of his Pokemon sketches that he does?
I think I know who you're talking about.
Casey Green.
Yeah.
I think it's caseygreen.blog.com.
I assume you're not talking about the Australian rules footballer.
I mean, I can't deny with absolute certainty that he does not play Australian rules football. But he's very American and not very athletic. If I could find the thing that links to his page, where is it? Oh, jeez. Because I got two. There's one that's caseygreen.blog.com with all the words of dot being words. And there's caseygreen.com.com. Nope, that's not the one. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's midnightsurprise.com. If you want to see Casey Green's good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Midnight, Nite.
Okay.
It's only like 1 or 2 steps above the Art Attack webpage design. So you're just going to have to...
It's a Tumblr site.
Yeah, exactly. It's a total mess. But so he's a fine artist, and everyone should follow him.
He's actually not bad.
No, he's really good. His recent stuff really doesn't do him credit. You should go back and watch his gun show, or read his gun show comics site. That's on the internet forever, and it's some amazing stuff. Some of the best comics that are out there from like the late early 2000s.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is my counterpoint to your whiteboard from last week or last 2 weeks ago. Is everything Casey Green.
I love the whiteboard.
Yeah, Gun Show Comics, and he did a comic before that, the name of which I can't remember, but you should read that too. Just everything, 100% of all the things.
All right, I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always willing to learn.
So was there anything else that we had aside from that? Oh, you know what we didn't talk about ever on any of these, and maybe, I don't know, it's up to you whether we do it right now, because maybe it's a bigger conversation, but escape rooms. Right.
You're right, we have not talked about that.
Yeah, what do you think? Because I think we could go on for quite a while if we wanted to about that, and we're already over an hour.
Yeah. I think you should bring that back up next time, and we'll have a long discussion about it.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah, but that is something we should talk about. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Anything quick and dirty?
No, not really. We'll be back with the podcast, regular scheduled podcast next week. Reading the Black Company by Glenn Cook. That's about it.
Yeah, I definitely started reading that. It was very different than I expected, and obviously we'll talk about it.
I have only read the prologue so far, but I'm liking it like a lot.
Interesting. Okay, so this should be a good podcast.
Yeah,
as opposed to
it'll
all
be
those
interesting
shitty
because
ones.
we won't have guest hosts this time.
Oh man, we got to actually rely on our own witty banter.
Exactly.
Good thing we don't have any practice doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we've done hours of that. Or
Never
anything.
doing that right now, even.
Right?
Jeez.
Could you imagine if we were just recording this like a podcast?
Imagine if we were just trapped in one place for like 8 hours a day, or maybe only like 4 hours, and all we could do was just shoot the shit for an entire most of a day. Man, that would be hellish, wouldn't it?
What would that even be like?
It's called Waiting for Godot.
Waiting for Godot.
Waiting for Godot is my life.
Waiting for that
he's just
punchline.
around the corner. No, never mind. Still 6 hours till I can leave.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think on that note, on that existentialist note, we should probably sign out here.
Yeah, so this has been your output podcast for this week. My name is Brendan, and with me as always is Sam.
That's me.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, so don't forget, before you go, check out any of my ludicrous bullshit at MC Pepper Pockets on Twitter, and www.burialatsea.com, which is my blog, for anything that I've written there. And Brendan is...
I'm available at FreakLabMessApp on Twitter, Accidental Origin on Instagram, and accidentalorigin.com. Oh, and of course, here on Twitch at twitch.tv/accidentalorigin.
Yep. And also, as we already said, don't miss our bi-weekly book club podcast called Read Write. That the next episode is going to be next weekend, or actually next Monday. And that will be available, obviously, both here as a video on demand, on YouTube, as at our Read/Write podcast, our book club video archive, and of course on readwrite.podbeam.com on just the general internet. So check all those things out. And obviously completely ignore the street sweeper right outside my window. Ignore it. Ignore it.
It's actually not that bad. We can't hear it too much. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you all next week.
See you next week. Bye.